welcome to the Escape with Nick and Adam, where we talk about everything nerdy, sci-fi, comic books, action figures, pop culture, and entertainment. So, my name is Nick,
And I'm Adam. Welcome.
and we welcome back Danny. Danny, welcome back, sir.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
Danny.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for
I
being on the
said-
show.
Couldn't make it last year, was it last year? Was it this year? I forget. what
Last
year.
year, yeah.
Yeah, last year I was like, because of technology. I think Y2K finally caught you, but it was one of those. It was like Danny's coming on. He's like, I'm in the middle of an update.
Yes,
It's like,
I turned it
yeah.
on, and it was like, hey, guess what? We're going to update right now.
So I was like, that's what before the show. I was like, I see the little orange dot in the corner. I was like, not gonna try it. I want to. I want to pull a Danny and realize.
No,
It's-
it
it's
took
one of those-
almost 2.5 hours.
Thanks Windows.
Yes.
So now you're become a Mac guy from what I hear.
You know what? That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to switch to the other side.
Switch to the fruit.
The fruit. The apple.
The fruit company. So, yeah, I always thought like as a video editor, like everybody uses Apples and Mac, which for the most part they do, but it's not better. Like I remember one kid I was working with, I was working at the school district. He's like bought the top of the line MacBook Pro, blah, blah, still got the blue screen of death trying to edit videos on it. I was like, well, there goes that,
Well, the good thing about Apple is they don't care, so they hardly ever update.
Right. Or they just update it for you.
Yeah.
When
And then after 2 years, they're like, oh, by the way, this is junk now. It's a big paperweight, and we're not
Yes.
updating it ever again.
That's right. So, before we get going, let's help out our friends, Night of the Chihuahua. So go check out our friends at Night of the Chihuahuas over on Kickstarter. I think it just launched about a week ago, the 3rd, and it's already hit its goal. But it's funny because every time I talk to Nate, I'm like, Nate, congrats on hitting the goal. He's like, yeah, that's just we're just scratching the surface of what we need. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. He's like, so they do need more help, so please go support those guys. I think last I checked this morning, I think it was at 150%, which is I think it's right around 1,500 for him. But it was like, hey, congrats. He's like, we need way more.
Not yet. Not yet.
yeah. He's like, yeah, we. This is just literally like scratching the surface of what they're trying to get, because I think Adam, they said they're ready. Their issue 3 is ready, almost ready to be shipped, and then this is just what's it? Is it for issues 4 and 5?
I think it's to finish the run.
Yeah, I think it's a 5-issue run that as far as I know, I think that's what David said.
But yeah, this will get issues 3 and 4, I believe, out.
Yes. All right, so we are looking into our crystal ball of 2023 and see what is coming down the pipe, and see if we can just have some fun as to what some of the rumors that are out and about right now. Some of the things. We're just gonna take some guesses and just for fun. Adam, Danny, have you heard about who is the latest rumored actor to play Reed Richards?
I have not.
No, I believe it came up on one of the podcasts I listened to. It went in one ear, not the other, kind of a thing, because nothing's finalized. But what did you hear?
Nothing. No. Sorry. Adam Driver, the one and only. Hey Jerry, thanks for joining us. The one and only.
Hey, Jerry.
Adam.
I thought I heard him as Dr. Doom.
I heard Reed Richards, so like I said, we're just playing with rumors and speculating.
I would like him as Dr. Doom.
I would love him as Dr. Doom. I think one of the unfortunate things that happened to the sequel trilogy is that Well, besides they didn't do anything right, but I thought he was a fine Kylo Ren.
Yeah, he
He's a
was.
fine bad guy.
You know, after really, really looking at the sequel trilogy and thinking about it, you know what? It reminds me of like a bunch of kids that played like, 7, 8, and 9 in a sandbox or something in the backyard, and they were like, "Remember that from when we were little?" And that's when they did for a trilogy. They just played with the toys. And it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, there was no story to it. It's each kid who got his hands on the toys just made up his own story as they went along. And
Yeah, and
hey,
here's Santa Claus all of a sudden.
yeah, here's a couple $100 million, kids.
Yeah,
So
weird.
well, let's not do that. Let's not go into there. But so we are still waiting on James Gunn's slate, at least the first part of his DC slate of movies. Adam, who do you think? What do you think is kind of going to be the first slate? Obviously, we know Superman. Are they just going to try and establish the Trinity first? Do you think, or what do you guys think?
Yeah, well, you don't really move forward with a DC universe without a Trinity, or you got to start with Superman. Then,
Yes.
he's got to be in the world. He's got to be in the universe in some shape or fashion. You need Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman to do the DC universe. That's why all of this is baffling. So you must have one hell of a good idea. I can't wait to see it because I like comic book characters and superhero movies. But what do I think? I mean, I really don't know, Nick. I really don't know what to expect. I think the lower I think my expectations, my peace of mind is in direct proportion to my expectations.
They're very well said. Yes.
Yeah.
That keep your expectations low, and you won't be disappointed.
Right.
That's right.
It is ambitious to like. I will go into a Superman movie going, this is going to be great, because
he's Superman.
Yeah, but I mean, the potential to screw that up, whoo,
especially in today's world.
Well, it's already exactly, and you already have a couple different versions of Superman established that you've done well in the last, let's just say, from the year 2001 forward. You're rocking the boat on Superman for kind of a bad for no good reason, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I didn't think DC needed a full hard reboot, but we'll see. Again, I still don't want to see Lois Lane pregnant with Bruce Wayne's kid, which is the original direction this was going to go. I don't want that, but
no one wants that.
Yeah, I'm cautious.
Nobody wants that. Especially Lois.
And the funny part about it is, yeah, especially Lois. Well, she got some splaining to do. I was only dead for a year, Lois.
I mean, Batman's got the money, though.
But yeah, get that nice child support. She'll be fine.
Yeah,
Get out of Metropolis for a while.
They can redecorate the Fortress of Solitude. All the good stuff.
But then you see the nightmare vision, and Superman torches her down to a skeleton.
Yes.
That he's holding the skeleton falls apart in his hand, and who comforts him? Good old Darkseid. Yeah, it's a little much.
Oh, I'm okay with Lois going. I'm
all right.
He's like, I should have let you fall in the first place.
Right.
I was like, I don't need no romance in my comic book movies. Let's just have the action and the fighting. Let's just have this. I just want this.
You just want the fighty. And you're never going to nail romance as perfectly as Dick Donner did with the original Superman movie. That was crazy. Like for a grown man to say, yeah, I have a favorite romantic date scene. Do you ever see where he takes her up in the air and she's like, we're going to fly like Peter Pan? He's like, Peter Pan flew with children, Lois, in a fairy tale. And she's just like, okay. It's like, should I get my coat? Nah, you'll be fine. And he just takes off with her. That's romance.
We don't need any more of that.
Well, until the first fight, and he holds it over her head. Hey, you remember that time when I didn't let you fall?
Right, exactly.
Remember the time I didn't kill you when I lifted you off the ground and took you like as high as the airplanes?
It's gonna be a whole song written about it. in the 90s by Three Doors Down.
You owe me.
Yeah,
I got a song named after you.
You took for granted all the times I never let you down.
That's right.
Yeah, go Lois Lane, so intrepid, she stumbled in, bumped her head. If not for me, she'd soon be dead. I picked her up, put her back on solid ground. If I go crazy. All right, that's enough.
All right.
That's enough
Anyway.
of that.
All right.
That's a good song.
So I seen it. I go kind of going in a different direction, if you don't mind.
You're good.
I kind of seen that. What was it? Nick Cage was like, nah. They were talking about him going and doing some Star Wars stuff for Disney. He told Disney, he's like, nah, thanks anyway.
Yeah,
I gotta wash my hair.
You know Star Wars is, you know, when Star Wars is in a bad spot, when Nicolas Cage, who mind you has done a boatload of garbage movies strictly for the money, turns you down. He's like, even that's below me. Yeah.
Oh God. But who would not want to see, like, that'd be crazy to see Nick Cage just chewing the scenery on, like, as some whacked out alien though, like, not they make him a bid for tuna person or something.
No, Danny, make him Thrawn.
Oh. There you go.
Nicolas Cage's Thrawn, that'd be freaking amazing. All blue, red eyes. Let's go. Let's do it.
I don't know who this character is, but I'm in.
Yes. So, all right, getting back to it, sort of trying to stay back on track here. So, Adam, Danny, a lot of people are concerned since the Flash movie's still going forward that they think Ezra Miller is going to be James Gunn's Flash. Now, is this strictly one of those? I think it's one of those things where Zaslav said, we have to make some money in 2023, so this movie is coming. and not because, and it's slightly concerning because just about every other, rumor regarding James Gunn's been very vocal on, Twitter saying yes, no, maybe so, but he's been pretty quiet on his, if Ezra Miller is going to be a Splash.
Anything good or anything bad you have to say about Ezra Miller right now, if you're Warner Brothers, is bad for this movie. You shut the fuck up and you put it out and you try. And I've heard that the new trailers are very Keaton heavy, and maybe there's a rumor that the title of the movie might change to like Batman Flashpoint or something. Like I've heard that rumor, but anything good or anything bad you have to say about Ezra Miller at this point, if you're Warner Brothers, you don't say it if you want this movie to make any kind of money. Now, what if this movie is a fluke hit? Just like it is like $1 billion movie. Will it be in the conversation to bring him back? Maybe, but will you? No, you don't. You don't come back from breaking into people's homes, grooming a 12-year-old kid. And if you do, then I'm done. I'm good.
Well, I was talking about this with my son over the weekend, and I said, if they're sticking with Ezra Miller, I'm not supporting this movie. I will not support that. At least, I won't say I won't support the DC moving forward, but I won't support anything that Ezra Miller is attached to.
It's one thing if you fired him, you put the movie out, and you make good. You play nice, and we go and we see the movie under the knowledge he's fired. Okay, and he's not playing the Flash moving forward. For me personally, that puts me back in the seat. I get to go see my Flash movie. If you say, "Man, this is getting great acclaim, and we're gonna mend fences and do the Flash too," if I've already seen the movie, I don't see it twice. If there's any plans of me going to see a Warner Brothers comic book movie, no. Go on.
That's it. Because it flat out says we're okay with this, and so should you be.
Right. It's excusable. I mean, and I like how you said that, and so should you be. I don't have to be. No. I don't have to be at all. No. Everybody else can, and that's fine for them. Well, but what I'm going to do is under the impression that he's fired, I'm excited to see this movie.
Well,
Right.
Adam, I think it feels like forever ago we were talking about this. How do you put that guy out on the press tour for this movie? How is that going to go?
I mean, he's probably if he's gotten some of the help that he needs, and he's got a good support system, then you could probably put him out there like on a leash. How do you put him on a press junket for something like what I mean by on a leash? It's like, look, this is your handler, this is a job.
Your handler is sitting right next to you. Just frame him out of the shot.
You're coming to work for the next 6 weeks while you do this. This is work. That's how you'd have to That's how you would have to handle that. But how do you put him on a press junket for a full franchise now moving forward, and you still stand there saying we're okay with this? Don't.
But I'd say that's how I feel about it. But the one sticking point with me is Zaslav, because let's just say this movie defies expectations, makes a boatload of money. Now, I mean, we're not talking Avatar 2 money, but if it gets close to $1 billion, I think Zaslav has zero problem saying, yeah, we're just going to do the old Hollywood, he's in rehab and he's going off to do that thing, which they're still in the middle of trying to do right now, just trying to massage, he's in rehab, he's getting the help he needs. And
I don't know about what Zaslav might do. Here's the thing: if you're Warner Brothers Discovery and you decide to hire Ezra Miller to make a movie that's not The Flash, that is like, I don't know, you want him to be the new action star of something, or maybe you have a part that's right for him, go make that movie. I may see it. I mean, I won't see him as the Flash, though. I won't, because the Flash saves kids, right? He saves kids.
The Flash is a hero.
Yeah, and he saves people. And every little kid at one point or another wanted to either be saved by a superhero or save someone like a superhero would save. Mm-hmm. And we can't forget that ultimately the spirit of these properties belongs to the kids that we were and the kids that are around now. So no, I don't think that you don't not hire him for something else if you're interested in it, but this is not his wheelhouse anymore.
No, that's it right there. It's the fact that, when you take on one of these superhero personas, you take on the responsibility of what entails that. He broke that trust. Right.
And there's plenty of actors who are millionaire actors who have to do that. They have to listen, I can't be seen at this kind of place right now. I don't have the kind of freedom to be seen at this kind of place right now because it's in my contract. And I signed this contract to play this part, and it comes with some levies on my personal life. Everyone's job comes with levies on their personal life. I don't care if you are if you're Ezra Miller starring as the Flash, or you're Joe Schmo from Kokomo getting your first job as a stock person, and you're 17 years old. Yeah, you gotta arrange for a ride to work, don't you? You gotta play by the rules to do that, because maybe you don't have your license yet. Anyone who works, who has a job, work puts restraints on you, whether you like it or not, and this is no different.
Yes. Well, and I'd say, I mean, especially coming off of firing Henry Cavill. If you fire Henry Cavill for nothing and let this dude come back,
and that wouldn't make sense in and of itself. You say to Henry Cavill, well, we're not going to move forward with your Superman anymore. Then all of a sudden you're going to bring this flashback. You have to bring back Henry Cavill's Superman. Then you have to backpedal on that, and you have to get yourself Gal Gadot back. You don't have to do Batman as much. You get a little bit of leeway right there, especially if you're dealing with a multiverse. Unless this Flash mixes up everything so crazy that you can just pick any person to stand in there. In that case, you can get, Adam West to be Batman, and you could get Chris Reeves to be Superman, and then you can get Gal Gadot to be Wonder Woman. If that's the way that the Flash movie ends it, that's kind of bizarre and not exactly what I've signed up for. So, okay, Nick, what do you think? I've talked caused blue in the face on that.
As blue as your shirt.
Danny,
Adam
you
West
say something,
actually
too.
is supposed to be in the Flash movie as well. He's supposed to make one of those creepy digital appearances.
Okay, I'm excited to see. I was just telling this to Nick earlier. I've always wanted to see a Flash movie on the big screen. I always have, and
Yes.
I ever since I saw the Flash as a little kid on CBS Channel 2, like 1990, 91. I loved that show. I was like, oh my god, what is this? Danny Elfman, who did the score from Batman, did the score to that show.
Yep.
At the same time, though, I'm not nuts about seeing this guy as the Flash. I never really was. It always seems like it was the one misstep in the casting for all of the Justice League. He
seemed like this has to be your guy, because all the other ones made sense. Like you said, one of these characters is not like the other. It seems like one of those. The studio
whose nephew is this?
Yeah,
exactly.
The studio's like, this is your Flash. He's like, I don't want the Flash. He's like, do you want all your other toys? Well, yeah. He's like, here's your Flash.
That's exactly what that feels like. It always very, very much felt shoehorned in. Yeah. And then when he executed the role itself, especially in the first cut of the Justice League, it was like, no, that's closer to like
the Whedon version.
Yeah, that's closer to the cartoon version of Wally West, kind of smart alecky and all this stuff. But I was saying to Nick, the one step in the right direction that the Snyder Cut did was when they were standing around thinking about bringing Superman back from the dead. And in the Justice League version, the Joss Whedon version, he's like, oh God, he's going to come back wrong on Pet Sematary. But in the Snyder Cut, he's like, oh my God, we have to do this. We have to. He understood the implication of what this science meant to mankind. And he understood that. That's why he and Bruce Wayne were looking at each other like there was no question. It was like, we have to do this. And not just to bring back Superman, but just you could see the way that the idea was written, that he understood that you could bring back you were becoming limitless at that point. That was the only kind of step in the right direction with that. And I don't know. I'm excited to see this movie, but at the same time, like, again, never have been too excited to see him as the Flash. There were things I liked. I thought he was a little bit funny, but, no honor amongst thieves.
Yeah. Well, getting back to seeing the Flash on the big screen, it's very much, the same thing where I'm not the biggest Superman fan, but I love seeing Superman do Superman stuff in the movies. Right. And I very much enjoyed like the first couple seasons of the Flash. And it's funny because I was like, just showing the super speed and all that. But one thing I didn't notice until it was pointed out to me is like how he's running through the streets and the streets are always empty. Like whenever he's running, because they didn't have the budget to put people motion blurred in the background. It's like, it's kind of like a crappy early video game where they just you're just zooming around, but there's no, you don't have to worry about running around anybody. Yeah, so that's funny. I was like, there's every time you look, there's there's literally no one in this major metropolitan city.
Yeah, Central City.
It's Central City, dead after 6 o'clock.
Gosh, that's a game to play on this show. So we'll just take Central. What city in America is Central City?
That's supposed to be Chicago, right? Or is it St. Louis?
I don't. I would probably think closer to St. Louis because I always heard Gotham was like Chicago.
I always
Gotham is a planet.
Yeah, no shit.
We're getting there, Danny. Yeah. I always assumed Gotham was supposed to be New York, and it's funny that Detroit's Detroit. But
Detroit is Detroit because that's where Cyborg's from, and Vixen, but at least in the New 52, I think. But Metropolis is New York because they're the Big Apricot.
Right.
New York is the Big Apple. Big apricot.
Well, what's the? All right. Yeah, I don't want to go deep into the lore of what city is which, and
But isn't that kind of fun? Like all imaginative. Like
that's one of
just
the
in
reasons
your
I
head,
like.
what is it?
Well, that's one of the reasons I like DC because, oh, Marvel, it's always New York. All right. Oh, the
Yeah.
Hell's Kitchen. Be like, okay, it's a neighborhood in New York.
Yeah.
All right. You know, it's the from being from Michigan. It's like, hey, New York, go bleep yourself. I'm sick of. It's like Star Wars. Get off the Tatooine. Go
Right.
somewhere else.
Yes.
Oh, I back that.
As the rest of the country dies and as the
Yeah.
these villains come out of nowhere, New York is safe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
And what made all the villains decide, hey, let's all move to New York? There's a whole bunch of superheroes there that'll kick our butt on a weekly basis.
I mean,
Yeah. Thanos has to be like, don't mess with New York. All right, calm down.
did you guys ever see the video of like the vigil? Like, I don't mean the club like vigilantes, but like the vigilantes like in New York. Everybody had these red windbreakers that they would wear, and you can go on YouTube. The crime was so bad in the 80s, like you were getting mugged every 2 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah.
So like they had one guy in an interview goes, no, somebody was getting mugged or whatever, and I stepped in, and I've been arrested 5 times for fighting, but I'm always breaking up crime. It's crazy. Like they took their city back. It was nuts. I guess it was.
Man, I wish I could remember the name of that group.
I know, me too. I need a drink. I'll be right back. I am very thirsty. Sorry.
wow.
Oh, what is the name of that group? It's right there on the end of my tongue.
Well, that's one of the reasons I was proud of Detroit because when the whole Summer of Love a couple summers ago, that one group that was going around to different cities and causing chaos, Detroit, the citizens of Detroit said, "Get out of our neighborhood. We are not doing this."
Yes.
And they never, and they didn't. They had a little mob and they were met with a very angry, upset people because they're like, "You ain't doing that crap here." As one of the times I was very proud of the people of Detroit.
Here's a kind of a hidden history that happened here. A few years back, a bunch of people showed up in a bus, the hired people, to cause trouble, and they all stood at City Hall, like the leaders in the community, not politicians, the leaders of the community stood there and was like, "Not here, not now, go home," and they left. And it's the Guardian Angels.
The Guardian Angels, yes. That's a pretty amazing story.
Yeah, why has no one done that?
There was a documentary about I think it was during that time, but it was specifically one guy who gunned down a couple of I think it was a white guy gunned down a couple black kids, and it was big. Was it justified self-defense or what was it? So
right. That's the Punisher. The Guardian Angels are wrapped up all into the Punisher.
Damn near.
That's a crazy character that they would have a hard time. That's true too. We are a little soft. The Punisher is hardcore, man.
Yeah, he's not for the weak at heart.
No. He's an interesting character, though. I didn't watch the John Barenthal show yet. Just shame on me. Just no good reason. But I love when he's talking to Daredevil on the roof, and Daredevil's trying to get him to change his ways. Like, he can still do this, and he's like, "You don't understand, Red. I need him gone. I need it permanent." I'm like, wow. Like, just that word, permanent.
So I forget what show he was on, John Bernthal, but he was, because they were asking if he would do Punisher again. He's like, I don't know, man. He's like, it takes so much to go there as an actor, because you just like, I think it was just recently on Joe Rogan, where he's just one of those guys who just dives into the role, and he's like, it'd be so hard to go there that hard again. And
right.
It's like,
Yeah, because let's be honest, that was the only decent one done.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
The Dolph Lundgren one.
Well, I mean, I liked the Tom Jane one. I really did like that.
That one was not bad. Yes.
But here's the thing about that one too. It's really good for its time. I'm sorry to the people who love the movie Venom. I think it's a fine movie. There's nothing wrong with it other than it feels like it came out in 2003. So like,
yeah, it came out just after Blade.
So like that's why to me the Tom Jane Punisher doesn't survive into today's, unless you show him as an old man. You could bring him back as an old man, Frank Castle. You could do something like that.
Isn't that what's this? It's a Sylvester Stallone, not Tulsa King.
The Expendable. Oh, the Good Samaritan.
Yeah, the Good Samaritan.
I need to see that. I've heard that's good.
Oh, excellent. He reminds me of like an aged
Frank
Punisher.
Castle. Yeah. Have you heard of this movie, Nick?
Yeah, it's on Prime and it's been on the to check out list. It's just
right. I haven't seen it either. Good reminder.
And the problem is, it's just not that many people talked about it, so it's kind of like, and it just kind of fell farther off.
And it's a shame.
It is a shame because I think it came out just before like Rings of Power, and I think it came out with the Terminal List as well, because the Terminal List took a lot of views from probably the hottest thing on Amazon, and then it was followed up by the atomic poop bomb that was the Rings of Power. So I think it kind of fell in that valley. So
well, hopefully it gets to like the like most cult favorites, where like 10 years down the road people find it and they're like, this movie was excellent and it has a rebirth.
Well, I mean, Adam, let's do this. Let's make a point to watch it and we'll review it on
that's what actually I just wrote down. Watch The Good Samaritan. Because I keep forgetting about it. It's just
right.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm avoiding it. It's just I was like, oh yeah, I keep forgetting that thing happened. So all right. So getting back to it. Adam, is DC Comics in trouble? Is it dying?
I don't.
Wow.
I want to say
he is not committing to that.
Look at the conviction.
I just read Wildcats.
The new Wildcats, right?
Yeah, I just read the new Wildcats, and Gritter's kind of a smart mouth, but
he's not Deadpool.
He's not Deadpool. He wasn't I don't really remember him being.
I don't remember him being Deadpool-esque.
Yeah,
and I've got the original image run of Grifter, and I was reading that, and I think I told you when I was reading, I was like, this is not the Grifter I remember, and I realized, hey, new universe, Deadpool's popular, so they're trying to, mishmash. Hey, here's DC's Deadpool, but as an OG Grifter guy, like that's not who Grifter's supposed to be.
Really to get a better sense of this, I should actually read the New 52 Grifter. One or two of those issues, and then go back and read a couple of the. I did recently read some of the original issues, but sometimes it all bleeds together. I'll tell you what I did like about the comic. I liked the ending. I thought that was pretty funny, where he was like, "We have a Justice League member here. Can I kill him or not?" And that he was ordered to stand down.
What do you think of the villain of the Wildcats? This Wildcats run right here.
Is it the Court of Owls?
The Court of Owls.
Yeah. What I was hoping you were gonna say it's Oliver Queen, because no, not so much, huh?
No.
That would have been more interesting.
Hold on. Let me go with the conviction, Adam.
Again, like, you're abusing the. Say what the fuck you guys want, not you guys, but say what everybody wants.
Dare you.
Right, about the 1950s and the 1960s comic books and some of their campiness. some of their very, very popular villains they just didn't use for a long time, and they were okay with it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Excuse
I
me, I
don't
had a
like.
Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
I had sorry about that. All I'm saying is, man, just give some of the. Hey, look, we need the Court of Owls in this one, and we need the Court of Owls in that one because they were so popular 10 years ago, and they're in a video game, and oh my god, everybody loves them. Just, that's not comic books. Stop it.
No, because comic books is the Court of Owls is Batman's enemy because they're in Gotham.
Right.
Lex Luthor is Superman's enemy. It's just you don't have the Joker be crossing over into Superman's territory. He crosses over into a few characters, but he's mainly a Batman villain.
Yeah, and the Court of
I know they're trying to make Wildcats a little bit bigger by adding them into the Court of Owls thing, but I was like, I don't know, it just doesn't quite fit for me because every time I think Court of Owls, I think Batman.
Here's the thing: we don't want DC Comics to die because in 10 years they might be good again. So we every 10 years they seem to suck good,
Right.
or something. They're gonna write something I like eventually, but it's weird. From 1990 to essentially what 19 or not 19, but like the 2015 or 2005. I mean, you had some really good writing, you had some really good stuff in there, and you had good stuff in the 70s and 80s too. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old man.
Well, let's get to something that's not very good. Joker, the man who stopped laughing, got pregnant.
No fucking villain called the Joker doesn't laugh.
Yeah, well,
What the fuck?
that's the thing. So it pops up. Hold on, let me what the bleep?
What the
Yeah.
Hey, I got a doctor who has no pepper. Okay, syrup and freaking syrup. What is the syrup and cornstarch? That's it.
All right, so we'll go to founding the comics for this one. So, well, what do we have here?
Oh, this is awesome.
I think you're pregnant. I think you're right. Do we have an OBGYN we can use? How hilarious.
Wait a second, Nick. That's the Jared Leto Joker. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can. Yeah, he can get pregnant all he wants.
Yeah, does that not look like a Jared Leto Joker right there? Or
which one? The one on the left there?
The pregnant one.
Oh.
Scroll back up and look at it. He looks a little like Jared Leto without the freaking tattoos. You got to scroll back up.
I know what I have to do. I have to find the right thing.
Oh, right there. I don't know. That just struck me like
that does actually kind of look like Jared Leto's. But
yeah. Well, what do we have here?
Yeah, and here's the thing.
I think you're right.
If this came out like 10, 15 years ago, this would be a non-story.
Yeah.
This would be that's dumb. And part of the reason this even is an issue is because of the hyper-politicized world that we live in and everything that's going on in the real world. And then this panel would have just been forgotten and it would have been like, yeah, that's stupid. Let's move on. But in today's day and age where, like I said, where everything is just such a damn huge issue, it's just like, first of all, comics in general, mainstream comics, Western comics are not in a good place. This is literally one of the last things DC needed was something stupid like this.
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, it's an obvious, hey, look at us.
Right.
Where they didn't, they knew, okay, people are really going to hate it and they're going to talk about it. People are going to really hate that these people really hate it and they're going to talk about them and talk about this too. And it was just like, okay, let's just do it and see how many people, how much commotion we can make of it. Controversy equals cash.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yes,
hell.
but no. Because I think that a lot of people who, like, when I first saw this, it's like, how, as a DC fan, how the hell do you defend this comic? Like I said, this isn't even in the main story. It's one of the, if you're not familiar with how DC does their stuff, they have the main story, and then towards the end, they have a few panels or a few pages where the secondary story that, really doesn't have too much to do with anything.
It's an Elseworlds thing.
Well, it's an Elseworld, whatever it is. Like, as a DC fan, I just have to throw up your hands. Like, what the hell? Like, what? Why? Why?
I know why. I know exactly why. I read Three Jokers. I know exactly why this is happening. They're preparing us for a character called the Son of the Joker. I know it. I just fucking know it. I'm telling you, that's why. And I didn't read that anywhere. I don't know anybody. I'm just guessing.
Adams, 2023, Shot in the Dark, Son of the Joker.
I mean, why
Son
the
of a
fuck?
Beacon.
Why the fuck else do you rewrite the Killing Joke as to say that Jeannie never died? In fact, Jeannie was relocated, and Jeannie has a son, and Batman's always known the Joker's name. Okay, and then why would you do an entire storyline called One Bad Day, which is a line from the Joker's big speech? Just one bad day is all it takes for
Every time
somebody
you
to
say that,
send
I
into
get
madness.
irritated.
Yeah, so why would you do a whole line about how and then end it with the Riddler is the reason he went to Barbara Gordon or Commissioner Gordon's house in the first place? And now he's pregnant and some little Elseworld dreamy things. They're sticking their toes in the water. They're trying to be Mystique, and I'm seeing right through this bullshit. There's a DC character out there without a fucking name, and with his backstory as the Joker is his dad. He's out there.
Oh God. So
he's out there, and they can write about him in 10 years. They can write about him in 2 days.
So this article is from Bounding in the Comics. Ethan Van Sciver reacts to the Joker becoming pregnant in new issue of Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing. DC Comics is getting weirder and weirder. So Ethan Van Sciver looks like from his Twitter, DC Comics is getting weirder and weirder, allowing more perverts and fetishists to make grotesque filth out of their classic characters. Bellows Batman is your last sellable comics franchise. It's not wrong there. Normal readers might not enjoy Atomic Skull giving Joker a prenatal pelvic exam. And you had one of the guys kind of going after him. Actually, it looks like this gentleman here. Comics are for the young and young at heart. What 9-year-old boy or girl wants to see Joker get a prenatal checkup? Bunch of weirdos at Marvel and DC. This is as bad as those piss baby comments in X-Men last week. Yeah, Marvel's got its own issues.
I'm not sure I completely agree with him about it is for like the kid at heart, but there's also a very it used to be a counterculture thing too with like comic books. Like when you read comic books, you were a nerd, but you were like not to be fucked with as a nerd either. You were the kind of nerd that struck back. But this is just bizarre. You know what I mean? This isn't. I don't know.
No. Well, and then there were some people kind of going after Van Sciver. So why do you care about this? Lol. Care? I'm laughing in disbelief and disgust. Lol. Sounds like you should stop finding inconsequential things to be mad about and get a life. Ethan Van Sciver, remind you who is an artist and writer and comic creator. My life is comics, dude. It's where I derive my living. I care about it substantially.
Sure.
As do fans. So,
right.
Well, and that's kind of it. Yes. I'm not going to go as far as to say, is this a very vague attempt at grooming? But like Adam said, they're dipping their toes in. And the big thing today is see it, but don't talk about it. Keep your mouth shut. Until it's too late. Then we'll make a big deal out of it later on once it's gone too far.
Sure.
And I think that's what he's saying is, hey, I've been around for a long time, and I don't like what I see here. And people who have been there, they have the right.
Well, it's also the gaslighting of one, as the gentleman earlier was saying, he's like, this is in a comic book where any kid can go and grab it. When you're saying any 9-year-old, like, why the hell is the Joker pregnant, right? And then when you call it out, then you got this guy like, what do you care about comics so much for? Well, it's because one of the things that we derive joy from, and one of the reasons we call the show The Escape is because we believe escapism is important, And when you start messing with the things that we like and one of the things that we use for escape, and you use it to fit in these weird ass message. I don't know if it's even got a message or it's just some jackass thought it was something clever or something funny or something. I don't know. I don't even know why anybody. I don't know if anyone's came out and said, "Oh, whatever. This is why I did it," or. But it's just a gasoline when you call it out, and then somebody's like, "What are you upset about?" Be like, "Stop messing with our crap."
But
Like I said, if this came out 15 years ago and this was an isolated incident, it wouldn't be a big deal. But they put nonsense like this in, and it goes similar to what they did with Superman by making Superman Jonathan Kent, and then making Jonathan Kent dating a trans or gender fluid. I don't know exactly what it was, but that was strictly to boost sales for that issue. And then you know what happened? They boosted sales for one issue, and then everybody went away because guess what? As it turns out, the storyline was shit to begin with. So
you mentioned that. So 10 years, it's 1996 now. All of a sudden, everybody, and we're gonna pick up a comic book and see the Joker pregnant, and we're gonna read this comic book, and by the time it's over, we're gonna be so fucking disturbed at the plot synopsis and what the Joker did to achieve it. Was he pregnant? Was he this? Was he whatever? It wouldn't be this piece of like whimsical fluff or whatever this is. There would be something so psychotic and so horrible behind it that it would go down as good literature. But this is just a piece of bullshit woke culture.
So it's a blatant money grab.
Exactly.
Or attention grab.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and also
can I make one more point on that since he made the saying it's an attention grab? Take the Killing Joke for an example, right? The joke, what's the Joker do? He shoots Barbara Gordon, he takes the pictures of her, they insinuate he does more. Then he takes the father, strips him naked, puts him on the roller coaster, and all of this stuff. And what happens at the end? He did it to be a bastard. He did it to be vindictive, and he did it to drive Gordon nuts. And what happens at the end? Gordon doesn't go nuts. Gordon keeps his sanity, and he says, we need to take him in and show him that our way works. He doesn't win in the end.
Right.
He doesn't win. He did all of that, and Batman tells him, he says, all of your sick little games don't mean anything. For everything you did, Gordon's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's as sane as he ever was. Maybe it's just you. Maybe it's just people like you who crawl under the rocks when things get hard. He goes, maybe it's just you. Maybe not everybody does what you do. And that was the whole point of what Batman said to him. This is not that.
Right. No, how much you want to bet that if this goes really bad, that they ready to a dream?
Oh God!
They'll play the whole dream card.
Well, they can't because he actually woke up from the dream because he had a dream about Zatanna, and Zatanna apparently is supposed to be one who actually put the hex on him so that this would happen. But if they tried to recant it and do the it was a dream, it's like I don't know, man. But just saying, yeah. So Ethan Van Sciver definitely. I think he stood up for not just comic books, but especially DC Comics. Because once again, so this has no effect on that whatsoever. And he says, so perverts making Batman comics repulsive has no effect on the comic book business, because as he. Van Sciver stated earlier, guess what, man? The only reliable thing DC has going forward is Batman. And if you start starting to mess with Batman, your golden goose, the whatever you want. Once you lose Batman, DC is officially done. So,
yes. Batman's only good because Batman has told good stories over the years. You can't just yank a good story like out of your ass and expect it to be awesome. I mean, you only write. I mean, it's just like you said, the golden goose, right? When does the golden goose stop laying the golden egg? When you start like going, you better lay that egg.
when you start gaslighting fans and saying, "Oh, because one, a hero's only as good as his villain," and one of the ways if you start messing with the villain, and now the villain's who knows what the plan was, I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, DC's in trouble for sure. I mean, besides name like, Adam, back in the day, how many just DC books could you name off the top of your head? Be like, I recommend, this Superman book, this Batman book, Robin, Nightwing,
Oh God,
Green Lantern.
I mean, the Bat Family books were just everything I collected. But that JLA book in the '90s was a.
But you can't do that. Sorry, but the point is, you can't do that now. I can't give you 5 DC books off the top of my head that you need to check out, or at least current stuff. Say you need that. You should be reading this.
I do want to interject a little bit of hope, though. 10 years ago, I could have told you some damn good titles, tons of them. Right around that time, the New 52. And maybe in 10 years, be able to do the same thing. Maybe in 5.
Hopefully.
Maybe in 5.
Hopefully in 2 years. Hopefully 18 months.
Yeah, well, that's a big 18 months. That's an interesting number.
I'm just, the sooner the better.
Okay. That's an interesting number.
That's all I just want good comic books. Nate from Night of Chihuahuas. Go check out Nate from Night of Chihuahuas. Go help out the Kickstarter over there. Nate, we were talking about you guys earlier, but
hey, you know what?
Yeah, but
since Nate's here, why don't we play the Night of the Chihuahuas again?
Again? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hopefully.
Hooty hoo!
Hooty hoo! Go check out Kickstarter. I know he said they've reached the goal, but they need way more help. So go help those guys out. And, yeah.
Coming from more of an indie background, the one thing I could tell you though is for all the indie writers out there, for all the indie comics, these guys should be very, very happy because the more the mainstream sucks, the better indies do. So, I mean, really, to anybody out there who's thinking about jumping into the indie comics, man, now's the time. Marvel and DC are on life support right now. Get out there, make your dream come true.
Well, I know, and I know part of the issue, a lot of indie creators are going to, the Kickstarters. I think Indiegogo, a couple other ones. But it's just like anything else, man. You got to get an algorithm, and that's one of the things I was talking about, Nate, earlier. Trying to get into that algorithm, and hopefully the cream will rise to the top on that one. But yeah, man, it's hard no matter where you're at. So because that was why Image was awesome back in the day, because that was you've got a thing you can go to Image, and there was a bunch of independent publishers, but it's just not today. I mean, mostly if you're not on DC or Marvel, most people are like, who? And part of that is from the the success of the MCU. But damn, MCU ruins everything.
Well,
but they started off small too. They were right there at one point.
They did. They did. They started off real small. And they did it. They really did do it well. The first 2.5, I mean, 1 through 3 were great, man. It was a good ride. It really was. I saw the trailer, the new trailer they released like in the last 24 hours for the new Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
And I saw MODOK in it. Did you see MODOK?
I didn't see it yet, but I saw the image of MODOK.
Yeah.
What did you think?
He looked a little too movie MODOK to me. That's bad. I sound way too fucking picky right now, but
No,
We're
no,
supposed
don't lower your standards because they put out crap.
we're supposed to live in a time where MODOK can look like MODOK, man. We're supposed to live in a time where we get fucking X-Men in their yellows and their reds and all of their glorious colors. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You just want to see Hugh Jackman in blue and yellow spandex.
brown and yellow, actually.
We'll see.
I'm the brown. I like the brown Wolverine outfit. I always had.
That's the original one, right?
I think so. Actually, it grew on me originally because I liked the blue and I always see blue and maize, but whatever. I liked the blue and yellow one, but no, the brown one grew on me. I really like that one.
Well, I just remember the blue one specifically from the animated series, and then like I said, once the brown one's more comic book.
Exactly, but not just that. I want to see Storm and her, get up, and I want to see
her get up.
get up. I mean, whatever. I mean, look. If I die and the next day we get a proper Dazzler, I'm gonna be so mad that I'm dead. So mad that I'm dead. She's got a disco ball as a fucking chain, man. You know who Dazzler is, don't you?
Yeah, but I was like, oh, we're going. I was not expecting to talking Dazzler on this show.
No, and you know what? They do Dazzler. I don't want a period piece. I want it 2023. I want her to walk out in the bell bottoms, jumpsuit, feathered ass hair. All right. He says, all right. And the disco ball and the blue makeup, man.
Yeah.
And then she's going to sing and fuck everything up. And then, oh, man, you know who else sings and fucks everything up? The Black Canary. See? I just wrote the first DC Marvel crossover movie. And you know who you can put in it? You can put the Green Arrow in it and the X-Men.
Yeah.
Black Canary, Green Arrow, meet the X-Men. Oh my God, you can throw Hal Jordan in there. Hard traveling heroes, meet the X-Men. Here's a movie idea. I'll pitch this to you right now. Hard traveling heroes. Do you know what Hard traveling heroes is by chance?
Not off the top of my head.
So Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams in the 1970s wrote a book where Hal Jordan was, doing a lot for other galaxies and things like that, and realized that there were not only problems just on Earth, but there were problems on street level Earth. And his buddy, good old Oliver Queen, was like, yeah, man. He goes, I'm not a millionaire and go out and do this for my people need help. So they hit the road, Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen, and they traveled across America helping people as much as they could. It was called Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes. And they met up with the Black Canary a few times along the way. Now that's a movie, man.
Speaking of movies that I'm looking forward to that are actually being made. Speaking of Nicolas Cage, how great does Renfield look?
Oh, God.
Right?
I'm so glad you agree on this.
Nicolas Cage, Nicholas Hoult, directed by Chris McKay. Adam, little thing I want to show you here.
Yeah.
Chris McKay, who's directing this masterpiece, I assume it's going to be. Has some pretty good credits here. The Tomorrow War Lego Batman movie. Let's see if I can do it. Renfield, Johnny Quest. Adam, you see this movie right here?
What?
Nightwing.
Now, I know this is one of those that was meant to be. Like, it's been in the production for a while, but...
I didn't know that.
It's been rumored. I think the last I saw update was for from 2021. That's still in production, but obviously there's been a shift there.
Right.
But do you think this is one of those ones that might make the cut for James Gunn's universe?
Yeah, because it's an idiotic move. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be negative. Look,
What?
maybe, but do you have to have an established Batman to do it? Is this your idea for Batman instead? Is this going to be your mantelpiece? I mean, it's the right way to go with Mantle, I guess. I don't know. I got a lot of questions. Nightwing is a character who I love, but brings a lot of questions when you try to put him on the big screen. You know what I mean?
So, but anyway,
but you can do it. They did do it in Titans. You got to think they did do it in Titans pretty well. So
yeah, but like you said, you kind of need the established. You got to establish Dick Grayson first. You need him as Robin. So, oh my goodness,
God, this looks great.
This looks amazing. I'm not gonna lie. And Adam McKay. I was like, I know it sounds familiar, so I was going through his credits. I was like, yeah, this guy gets it because he had some Robot Chicken episodes on there, Lego movie, and so I know it's not like I don't consider the Lego movies as much of a masterpiece as others, but I do enjoy them. But this looks, oh wow.
Yeah.
Talk about just letting Nicolas Cage eat the scenery. This is, I assume, Nicolas Cage. Remember when I think it was the early 2000s, and they had on the Conan O'Brien show, you know how after September 11th they had the color coded threat level, and on Conan O'Brien they had the Nicolas Cage overacting code. I'm hoping this reaches red for this one, so that's what I'm really hoping for.
God, yes.
So
I'll admit there's a part of me that wants to be like, we should get a serious version of this too.
Didn't they though? Didn't they do that? You know,
did they?
Sort of, but it was wasn't that Dracula with Keanu and all that?
No, that was the actual story of Dracula.
I know, but they had Renfield in there too. Renfield was a big part of it.
Well, Renfield was the guy who went to Dracula's castle to broker the deal for Carfax Abbey first.
Right.
They don't show you that in the movie. But this movie is like what happened to Renfield after all of that. Right?
I mean, hold on. It just says Dracula's henchman and inmate at the lunatic asylum.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I need.
I can't wait for this. This is going to be great.
Can't show too much of that, or else we're copyright struck again. But we got Nicolas Cage, Nicholas Cole, Aquafina, classy.
I like Aquafina.
I couldn't pick her out of a lineup.
It's not bad if you put ice in it.
Right.
Ben Schwartz from Parks and Rec, big fan of his. William Ragsdale.
Ben Schwartz.
Yep. Everybody else, but
William Ragsdale, dude. William Ragsdale's in it. Fright Night.
Yeah.
Charlie Brewster.
Mm-hmm.
As I said,
Herman's Head.
Yeah. Had a $50 budget.
Right.
Hot dog and a handshake afterward.
Nate's saying original horror comedy story.
Right.
Oh, awesome horror comedy story. I can't read.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you want to let Nicolas Cage do whatever you want. That's kind of the movie. That's where you go. Go ahead, buddy.
Did you see the one where he was locked in with the animatronics from like Chuck E. Cheese or something like that? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
He didn't say a word in the whole movie. He didn't have one line. It was a horror movie.
You know what? I remember reading about that.
You got to look this up, Nick, right now, because this is your business, man. This is like your flick. I wanted to see it too. I got a guy at work pissed at me about it. He took his family to see it.
Willy's Wonderland.
Yes. He was like, "That movie sucked, you fucker." I'm like, "Why?" He's like,
"I think that's on Chuck."
But it just makes seeing this movie just makes it even funnier that Nick Cage told Disney, "I gotta watch my hair." Thanks anyway, guy. I think I'm washing my hair that night.
Yeah, after ruined a movie called Willy's Wonderland, mind you, not a porn, is what he decided to do instead of saying, "Yeah, Disney, I'll do something with it."
Right.
So, all right, Willy's Wonderland, a quiet drifter is tricked into a janitorial job. Who hasn't been there? Tricked into a janitorial job at the now condemned Willy's Wonderland, the mundane tasks suddenly become an all-out fight for survival against wave after wave of demonic animatronics. Fists fly, kicks land, titans clash, and only one side will make it out alive. That's on. I'm in. Let's do it. Renfield, let's do it. When's Renfield? Oh, April. Comes out in April, so that's coming out soon.
Yeah, we got some good jams coming out in January. I was surprised. I mean, Megan's out. I want to see that.
I say Megan, that's one of the ones I do want to see.
Mithrigan.
My daughter went and seen that Saturday night.
Did you like it?
She said it was okay.
Hmm.
But
for a theatrical horror movie, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, she's 16. They're impressed by nothing. Nothing impresses them.
That's true. That's true.
No, she said it was okay.
Avatar's still leading the way. I think it just passed $1.5 billion.
Not an Avatar fan, huh?
No.
All right.
Ooh, I didn't know. Oh man, I didn't know about. I just saw a trailer for this, or not a trailer. It was an Instagram post. For what I'm trying to do here, a movie with Bautista and Knock at the Cabin. Saw that. I didn't realize it was M. Night Shyamalan movie, which means I have to see it in the theater because my wife.
I was gonna say it means it should be good, despite the fact that Bautista's in it.
He is a serious actor. You respect him.
If I can make it, I'll go with you.
Did you see him talking trash about how I'm not doing it anymore?
Yeah, it's like, all right, take a page. I'm not going to say this too often, but take a page out of The Rock's handbook and just remember where you came from. You came from being a bleeping wrestler. Like, calm down where it's all about the craft now. Be like, dude, you're on steroids. Stop it.
You're on steroids. Stop it.
Well, you know what? It would be true if he wouldn't have done the same gimmick in WWE where he was like, nobody appreciates me. I'm leaving. You know?
Right. It's like, bro.
Bye. Don't let the door hit you in the behind on your way out, pal.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you're known for being a muscle-bound, weird-shaped head guy. Like, just
that's
go with
it. Like, they can't replace him with like 10,000 other guys.
No. Well, and that's the crazy thing
and nobody would care.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like, you just think like, oh, they're just muscle bound dudes, but like, no, like there's something about certain guys. And look, Bautista has his thing as a wrestler. And hey, you want to shift into movies? Awesome.
Now you know what? He sucked at that too.
Well, I was going to say that, but also when I hate the people who like, quote unquote, get the acting bug. And then they're like, "Oh, I'm in it for the craft now." It's like, get back in the ring, or
the craft lunch service.
Yeah, it's like, you know what you do. It used to say you dance with the girl who brung you. Like, don't stray too far from your roots there.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, really, on like, past the actor, past the gimmick from wrestling. The guy's just a douche to begin with. This guy cheated on his wife, okay, who was trying to stay alive. She was fighting cancer.
Oh.
And then brags about it in his book.
Well, it's almost as good as Tom Brady,
horrible.
Who started dating Gisele Bündchen while Michelle Moynihan's pregnant with his kid.
One moment, fellas. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys. I'll be right back.
well, that's why I'm not the biggest fan of people when they start going, "Oh, I'm too good for this thing that made me famous,"
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh, I'm too good for the what?" Because you know what that actually says? I'm too good for my fans. That's what that says to me.
Yeah. Who outside of the WWE universe knew who Dave Bautista was until Guardians of the Galaxy? Nobody.
Nope. It's almost like Goldberg saying that. Because Goldberg tried the movie thing. He did a few movies, but he's just like, I'm just the meathead, whatever. I forget what movie he did, and he was doing a fight stunt with someone, and how they're supposed to sell a shot, and the dude's just like, dude, just punch me in the face, it'll be fine.
Yeah. All right, and that's it too. Goldberg's best work was on the Goldbergs. I mean, really, and it's not taking anything away from him. He played that part brilliant. The gym teacher. It was great. He did a good job.
Yeah. But yeah.
But are we still talking about Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
You just said that that rang a bell with. He did a great job as the gym teacher, Goldberg, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put Dave Bautista as a better actor than he was when he was in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. The guy who was in the first Guardians of the Galaxy can't pull this off. But so I'm going to give credit where credit's due. But at the same time, come on, man. Like, I'm with you, Nick. Slow your roll. Don't stray too far from your roots here. And you're in a Shamhammer movie right now. And so,
he's saying it's all about the craft in an M. Night Shyamalan movie, which is Getting Back to Robot Chicken is still one of my favorites. He's like, what a twist!
What a twist! I think him saying it's all about the craft might just be the twist of this movie. Like, at the end of the movie, all of a sudden he's like, hi, I'm Dave Bautista, and I used to be a wrestler. But now I'm in this movie.
Right.
What a twist!
Yeah. I got mad. I got mad and left there. Then I became an actor for a minute. And I got mad and I left there too because no one appreciates me.
And then the Rockettes come out dancing and say, it's fucking over!
And it's got a Weasley in it too, so that's fun.
I bet you he's a better actor.
Sure
I just love that Rupert Grint doesn't care anymore because he's just like, I'm Ron Weasley, bitches. Like, that's just...
Yes. Did you ever see that Netflix series he was in? About faking cancer?
Oh, no.
Oh. It was horribly good. He's trying to get money for nothing, and he gets this doctor wrapped up in it. I don't even know if it's on Netflix. But it was just one of those. It was a train wreck where you just can't look away, once it's on. But
yes.
Yeah, those are my favorites. So, all right. Adam, I know you watched it last week. Danny, I don't know if you watched it or not, but I did check out Don't Worry, Darling is that Netflix? No, it's on HBO.
HBO Max.
No, I did not.
All right, so we're going to spoil it. Is it okay if we spoil it for you, Danny?
Yeah, go ahead. I probably will watch it.
All right, so the premise of the movie is kind of like, hey, there's this weird... It's not weird, but there's a neighborhood that's very much 50s-esque. It reminds me of actual, Edward Scissorhands, where everything's color-coded. Everybody leaves their homes at the same time.
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
That part. There's a lot of that in this, but also it turns out, everything's not as it seems. And spoiler alert, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. The husband, this is a simulation that he's put his wife into. And it's to simulate the 1950s, but
it's
in all reality, it's essentially a matrix that he's basically put his wife into.
That's why I didn't watch it, because I got the vibe of Matrix meets the Stepford Wives.
Yeah,
yes. And that's what Trudy said while we were watching. She's like, it's like the Stepford Wives.
And I'm glad you said that because, like, the trailer does give the impression if you want to go down that road, like for me, the Matrix part flew right over my head with the trailer. I was thinking, oh, is she trying to escape some kind of crazy sick cult? You know
That's
what I
what. Well,
mean?
that's what I thought. I was like, oh, it's some type of crazy ass cult or crazy, like the
Yeah.
village, this crazy little society they've built.
So
Well,
I
it's
was
the
interested.
Christian Science.
So so when I was in, so I was interested,
Sorry.
and when I watched it, it didn't suck, but it was the Matrix.
Well,
It
it's
was in the Matrix. You
I
know?
just don't understand because it was kind of sold as this, women empowerment thing. Because basically, so in the real world, uh, Florence Pugh's character, I don't know if she's a doctor, but she works at a hospital, and she mentioned that she was sewing people up all day. So I don't know if she's actually a doctor or if there's another position that does it. I don't think it really ever says, but basically, and her husband, who's played by what's his name, that ugly guy, um, Harry Styles. Yeah, oh yeah, the one that none of the ladies like. But so he's just a beta loser guy who all he does is sit around and play video games, and he doesn't have enough attention for his wife. So that's kind of the real world scenario. But in the Matrix, world that he's created, where he's he's kind of a doting husband. He really cares for her. He's the breadwinner in this scenario, has a very passionate relationship with his wife, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, maybe it's just the man in me. I was like, what's the problem with 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 like I realize like the whole world that he's created is fake, but at the same time, it's like, because I know there's one of two ways people look at the 50s, and they either look at it as the beaver cleaver, everything is perfect family, or anytime you bring that up, or it's the time when men were allowed to like beat their wives because they were all alcoholics. I was like, and there's like no in between, and I just don't understand. Like, I was like, and not saying like I realize, hey, like putting your wife in this program against her will, it's not cool. But I was
Yeah,
just
not cool. I mean, that's the problem.
I know that's the, but I mean that's the but it's to me it's like, oh,
I can't be a good guy in real life, so I have to put you in it.
Well, that's it, and that's my thing. I'm sitting here, so he's hey, his wife is the breadwinner, so what? He's just super jealous. So he's so jealous that he can't do this, so he puts her in a world where he can. And I'm just
Right.
like,
I think they would have been. See, I agree. There was something missing. Like, what was wrong with him? Like, what is this the first person he's done it to? I mean,
right, yeah,
you know what I mean?
hey,
Like, that would have been more of an interesting angle. You know?
Well, yeah, because if it's just like you know what to do and you just don't want to do it in real life, you want to do it in a makeup life. I mean, that's like the ultimate lazy.
Like he right. Well, he knows that technically he kidnapped her. You know what I mean? And he knows that she's under there, but he feels he's the scariest villain, right? Because he believes what he's doing is right.
Right.
But at the same time, we glaze past him. We don't learn anything more from him other than that he was insecure and he was jealous of her or in her time and he felt neglected. That's all that we know about, and that's as deep as it gets.
Well, and that's the thing. And this terrible program that he puts her into, where he's the breadwinner, where she gets to stay home, and he just wants to have sex with her. I'm like, isn't that what most guys want? I was like, don't men want to be the breadwinner and have a good, healthy sexual relationship with our loved ones? It's like, and it's because if for one of those things where he was putting her in this scenario so that he could be abusive. I was like, I don't see how he's abusing her in this world, and I understand. Look, she realizes, hey, it's this fake world, and she wants to get out. Cool, but it's just like, there's no real, it's implied why, he put her in this program, But
he should ask her if she wants to go in there, If she has family members that she'd like to speak with the rest of her life, that kind of a thing.
Right.
That's the horror part of it. I mean, he believes everything he's doing is for the right reasons. But we lose what the fuck is wrong with him in the whole translation of the movie. And the simulation yourself, right, Nick? It is fine, but
Well, if he were, like I said, if he were putting her in the simulation so that he was, dominant constantly, but it's not portrayed like that. It's just like they're just a normal couple that have.
And that's what makes him
issues.
even more screwed up. I mean, I haven't watched it, but to me, that's what makes him even more screwed up.
Right.
It makes him sinister.
There was a lot of ways to tell this story. I don't know. I don't know. It was a Matrix at the end of the day. Yeah. It was a Matrix.
But it was all, publicized as super feminist portrayal because Olivia Wilde was the director, and I'm just like, the movie, it's just one of those. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. I was just like,
yeah.
I did, Adam. I was.
Yeah.
Someone had some money. They needed to spend it.
Well,
This is what they did.
Yes, I think it's one of those. Hey, we're gonna make this, this, super feminist piece where women are in charge, and we're so in charge that the guy has to create his own world, where he can control everything. And it's like,
and that's probably it. He can't handle our world.
Well, that's kind of it. He can't handle that. He's not, essentially the breadwinner. That's kind of the only thing that I got. And she's so busy with work where he doesn't want to have much of a physical relationship with them. And I'm just like, so he builds the opposite in this, Matrix for back of, I forget what the program's called. But.
This is how I get in trouble in a situation like this. So here I am. This is like borderline true story. I'm grappling from one rooftop to another. And I've just saved another lovely couple dressed like a flying rat. And this woman comes up to me and says, I feel so guilty that I've done this to you. And I'm like, done what? None of this is real. And all of a sudden I stab her. She dies. I'm like, just stay where you are, lady. No one's waking me up from this. Do you understand me? No one's taking this away. That fell flat on Nick. Thank you for the laugh, Danny.
Sorry, I was trying to look up Don't Worry, Darling on IMDb. So
my whole Matrix fantasy about being Batman, and he misses it.
I heard it. I was trying to do stuff.
I'm kidding around.
But I don't know. Like overall, it's a well-made film, but it's just one of those. I just like
Chris Pine was crazy in that movie.
Love Chris Pine.
So there's a scene in the movie, Danny. Spoilers here, and first of all, if you are a children, get out of here. You're not welcome to listen to this. This is for adults. I'm kidding, but like he's having this guy here, Harry, what's his name?
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. He's
popular with the ladies.
He's having fun in a sexual way. Okay, so I'll curb the language there, but he's not having sex with his wife there, Florence Pugh, and Captain Kirk walks in. Chris Pine walks in, and she sees him, and so like Captain Kirk looks right at her, and she looks right at Captain Kirk, and Captain Kirk's like this, all like, oh, it's kinky, and she's like, oh God, he's masturbating her, and he makes sure.
Just say he's going down on her.
He wasn't. Was he going down on her, or was he fingering her? I don't remember.
I thought he was going down. Well,
I think
it's getting worse when you tell it.
He went down on her in the first scene. Anyway, so he's fingering her. His face is facing the window. She's looking at Captain Kirk. She knows Captain Kirk is in the room. Captain Kirk's watching her just like get off like God, right? And so Captain Kirk just gives her a wink and walks out the door. And Harry Styles never knows that Captain Kirk watched the whole thing. So he cucks him, and it's creepy.
Beat me up, Scotty. She's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, look, I mean, it's well shot, it's well directed. It's just, I just didn't, why? I just don't understand why. I don't get it.
Listen, I have an idea for a movie, and I need 400 people to make it and $10 million.
Yep. I need a tax write-off. What we got?
It's a miracle movies even get made because, like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Katie Silverman, Barry Van Dyke, Shane.
Well, guys, I gotta jump off of here. Time.
Oh, Danny, thanks for being on, man. It's been awesome,
you're
man.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
All right,
up?
later
All right,
on.
man. Have a good one, bro.
All right. And then there were two. So, all right, Adam. I was out and about today, and I finally. Oh, hold on. So, we have our list from last year, the figures that were announced last year, and I saw one in the wild, and I'm like,
"Did you get him?
Oh yeah." So
you did.
Oh yeah.
You got Dead Man. Oh yeah.
Yes, it did. And one of the things I didn't realize is I love how they have like the ectoplasm looking stuff there. But if you see at the top there,
I'm seeing it.
Is like a head thing. It's kind of like Dead Man as well.
It's fucking crazy. I gotta get that guy.
Yeah, so that's a McFarlane Gold label Dead Man. It's pretty great.
How many they have?
They had two. And they had a Frosted Tomb. So.
Yeah,
and they had was it Necron? The big ass.
Oh, the big guy? Okay.
Yeah. That's the first time I hit up that Target there on Hall Road.
I have not hit that up either. I forgot all about it.
Funny story. I had to meet a fellow driver. Yeah, we were to get a piece of equipment from him. I'm like, all right, I'll meet you at the Target on Hall Road. He's like, all right. A few minutes later, he's like, all right, I'm here. I'm like, where are you at? He's like, at Target on Hall Road. I'm like,
oops.
There are two Targets on Hall Road. I forgot about that.
Oops.
I was like, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
There are two Targets on Hall Road, and if you really want to get jiggy with it, there's 3 Walmarts.
Yeah.
Because you get all the way to Mound and all the way to Gratiot.
Yeah.
And then that one at Romeo Plank. Crazy. Nick and I lived in those areas, but nothing was there.
Yeah. So, the art for the Dead Man backs.
That's
fantastic.
Gorgeous. Boston brand.
So,
that is the name of Dead Man in his real name.
Is he what's your animated movie? Was it the Justice League Dark that they had him in?
Yep.
He was really good in that. Oh, and also he was in I just watched it. But it's one where Dick Grayson dies and he gets inhabited or infected by Dead Man.
Was it the Injustice movie?
I thought Injustice, but it didn't sound right. But
yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, there was something he did inhabit, Dick Grayson. I don't know. But that is awesome, man.
It's a pretty fantastic picture.
It's just, eventually you're going to have a lot of teams, You'll have Justice League Dark. You'll have all of that stuff, man. You've got Etrigan. You got Etrigan, don't you?
No. They had how do you say it? Batrosis?
Batrocitus?
Yeah.
Yeah, Batrocitus or something.
They had him this guy at Walmart. So I keep seeing all these people getting these badass deals at Walmart, and I go to my Walmart, and they got crap. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I bought the Atrocitus Build-A-Figure. But I kept all the other figures under packages. I didn't open those. I decided when I did open Starro, I decided I am keeping my Crime Syndicate, though I'm not going to sell that stuff. So they're packaged up now. I'm starting to get things ready. So
For the big move in 2023.
that's right. The big change. Lots of changes coming in 2023. So, what else we got on the roster to talk about? They're releasing the 25th anniversary of Titanic.
Not where I thought you were going to go with that, but
Yeah, but I heard this crazy fucking argument about it today, which by a woman on the John Campea show. Her name's Erin Cummings. She's an actress, and she gets heated. She's passionate about something. She has no problem saying she doesn't like it. I don't always agree with her, but I guess what they were talking about is that the trailer for the re-release isn't very good. And she started talking about. She's like, "This isn't exactly." She goes, "If you think about it, it's not much of." And I'm really like watering down her emphasis right now. But like, it's not really a date flick. It's an action movie. It's a date movie. It's a movie about class warfare. It's a movie about all these kinds of things that you could package it with, like the love story between the two characters, but it's really like a look at like what we were like, back then. Like they mentioned a scene with Billy Zane where he says like, "I won't pretend to understand why you're so loony," or something like that. Oh, you're melancholy. I'll never pretend to understand. I'll never pretend to know that I understand.
right.
Titanic is one hell of a movie, man. It is. It is.
No, it's a great movie, but it's also one of those like I don't know if I need to see it ever again.
If you think about it, the parts we all make fun of are the love parts.
Yeah,
that's the weakest part of that movie.
Yep. Well, that's it. I was like, you already had a really captivating storyline, the Titanic, which up until I would say it was very romanticized with our generation because it wasn't until the 80s when they actually discovered where the Titanic sank and started to actually piece together really what happened. Besides, you had some of the eyewitness accounts, but yeah, I said there was a really romantic view of the Titanic still, and that movie just hit at just the right generation and credit James Cameron so many things, just the spectacle of it all, because one of the biggest things up until then, and it doesn't make sense to people now, but like, hey, one thing you'll never be able to make realistic, you'll never make water on the sea look realistic, and no, they did, and they did it well, and the whole thing. So,
yeah,
and it turned out to be one of the biggest movies ever.
The part where that ship is sinking, man.
Yeah, the last full hour of that movie is actual, beat for beat, a whole hour.
God, it's just awful to think that something. I mean, we make ginormous structures,
yep,
and the world just swallows it.
Yep. Yeah, the ocean just says, "That's mine now."
Oh.
Okay.
It's gone.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah. Makes you, if you get real melancholy, see how I did there and bring it back around. Oh, yeah. Think about the things like George Carlin said, the world is not worried about mankind at all. 1 second here. Sorry. I just went on this craving for cola, and I was like, I'll be right back, guys. And I just hadn't had enough of it today. Started drinking tea. Now I'm drinking more cola to compensate. But when he says the world decided it wanted plastic, and it couldn't make the fucking plastic on its own, so it created us. Now it's got enough plastic. Maybe it's going to do dinosaurs again.
Yeah.
Scary to think about.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap her up.
Why? We have so much more to cover. Hold on. One, if you don't mind, just give me 1 second before we go. Before we go, I would like to kind of tell you a little bit about being pleasantly surprised about the Mayfair Witches.
Oh, okay. What's that on
Um,
again?
AMC Plus. Um, you can see and I've listened to the podcasts now for both shows, Interview with the Vampire and Mayfair Witches, and I've listened to like the showrunners. Dude, these were the people DC needed to hire. They understand how to make a universe. They understand it. They're like, Anne Rice did all the heavy lifting. Everything, every character in an Anne Rice book takes place in all the. They live in the same world. You know what I mean? So these witches, yeah, they're from the same New Orleans that Lestat and Louis were in, and all this kind of stuff. And you can really see the seeds of like taking their time and planning a good show. And they're already talking about different seasons being different books, and the fact that, to tie it back around, and like you asked me earlier, now that I'm really thinking about it, and I didn't expect to make this connection or complete this circuit, but you asked me, what do I suspect the plans are for DC with James Gunn and Peter Safran right now? What do I think they're for? Well, we should know something any minute now. Any minute now, because they said that there's going to be a January announcement.
Just wait.
And everything that they're doing over there on AMC with their Walking Dead and with this Mayfair Witches in an Interview with the Vampire, they understand, like Marvel understood, how to build a little universe. That we don't have to have a little universe that builds up to this great big thing and everybody comes in it and all this kind of stuff. You don't always have to do the crossovers. And do I think that they have that knowledge now over there? I don't know. I don't know if they got knowledge or they got egos.
Yes.
So I like James Gunn, man. I really do. And I am rooting for him. I'm on his side, but I won't desert it if it sucks. I mean, I won't just say, I don't know. I won't make excuses for bad scripts, though. So, and then I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about your take on this Wildcats, because you remember the original Wildcats more than these ones. And we only got 3 Wildcats in this, didn't we? We got kind of Deathblow.
Deathblow, who wasn't a Wildcat. He was Deathblow. He was part of Team 7.
Yeah, he died, right? As Deathblow. I mean, in the Team 7 books.
Yes. Like, Deathblow was always one of those weird guys because his premise was he had cancer. But he always was just one of those, he never really died. He always just took like a massive amount of damage. And was never like really revealed kind of what his super power was from the Gen 12 program. But I just remember like his comic book run was just brutal. Like he just always took like massive amounts of damage. Where I was like, how aren't you dead? And
right.
Then, there's another issue. I know this is one of the things that Wes from Thinking Critical got upset about. So Deathblow is not the Deathblow character from especially the Image universe. And they kind of, Deathblow's more of like a conscience. They just kind of pop into like a blank body, and now he's in a blank woman. Spoiler for issue 2. And then the Grifter, they have us back and forth. The Grifter's like, do I think Deathblow's hot? It's like, oh, all right.
Okay, so I haven't read issue 2 yet. It'd be cool to get someone like Megan Fox on this show, because of all the people who are out there in Celebrityville, you catch her on. I've caught her at least on one interview saying, I love Gen 13 growing up, was one of my favorite comics. What'd she just say? And
so what?
So she was hip to that kind of stuff. So, someone like that, or even someone less famous, that maybe lives locally, that like Gen 13, that's our age. Doesn't have to be Megan Fox. Be nice if it was.
But, open invitation. But just that, as far as getting back to this version of Wildcats, where Grifter's leader, original Wildcats, Spartan was leader, and was it Mr. Marvelous, Mr. something like that, but that was Mr. Majestic. Was one of
Yeah.
the main guys, but that was a
Wasn't
little bit later in the image run. And then I forget the chick who's got the half mechanical face with the jaw. I forget that character's name, but I do remember her being in there. But yeah, they kind of skimped on a lot of it, and then fitting in pieces I wasn't used to. First couple issues, I'm intrigued. I do understand like what West and them were upset about because look, you just gender swapped a character, like DC's been doing again. So, yeah, is it one of those things where they're just, hey, guess what? Deathwill's going to die like every other issue, like Kenny from South Park, and he's going to pop up in, a new body. Who knows what? But as far as having like Grifter be the lead, he was never the leader. He was just always the little bit of a loose cannon, the too much of a free spirit to be in charge of. But it's early, but also there's some red flags for sure.
So you read issue 2. I can read issue 2 next. It's on the Ultra app. So I do want to read the next one. I thought that was I was taken aback a little bit about the Court of Owls. Here's why I don't have a problem with. Hold on, and I want to bring the comic book up again too. We don't have to show it on air or anything, but this is why I have a small problem. So, like Todd McFarlane, right? He's using the Court of the Owls in his Batman Spawn, but he's Todd McFarlane. You know what I'm saying? And I enjoyed his writing. When I see these guys end off with the Court of the Owls at the end, it makes me think money grab. You know what I mean? Like, here,
but
use this character.
Todd can use it because he's also using Batman.
Again, you're right. Yes, that's true.
He's just leaking, Spawn into that universe.
So yeah, Matthew Rosenberg, is that the writer here of?
Yep. Also, guess what else he did? Made the Joker pregnant.
Oh, Matthew Rosenberg. Okay. All right. Well, the bar's low. Bar's low.
So.
Again, like, just tell me if I'm off the page. If I'm getting close to leaving the ballpark. But if you wrote a story where the Joker was pregnant, you're gonna do this in the vein that it's the Joker, and in the vein of treating the character with respect, and again with the fans with respect. Shouldn't that Joker be pregnant by some sick, twisted fucking reason that maybe he concocted and dreamed up, instead of like a prank by Zatanna?
Yeah, like, hey, like, by some medical marvel, they've implanted him with a thing, implanted it into him.
That's deformed.
One way you could have gone with it, or hey, what if it's the clone of Bruce Wayne, like something crazy like that, but not some shit monster that he throws up because it's not a dream.
Or he gets a hold of Wayne DNA, impregnates some woman, cuts the baby out of her, shoves it inside of himself. I'm sorry, I went there. But that's the Joker. It's a horrible thing that he does.
And at the end, and then when he reveals it to Batman, he stabs himself in the stomach. I don't know.
Exactly. But yeah, something like that. This, to me, looks cute and friendly and fuzzy. A little groomy, a little sick. And what the fuck is up with the art? The other guy looks like he was... Did they pull a cartoonist from like 1922 to draw the other character's face?
It has an old-timey feel, that's for sure.
Old-timey? There's a DeLorean missing from the fucking Museum of Television Cars, okay? Someone went back in time, grabbed a cartoonist, and was like, draw that. He was like, oh, fucking scared. I'll draw Mo.
Right.
All right, man. I just wasn't ready to quit yet. I had to go there.
Oh,
I had to be like Degrassi High.
Bring it. We're gonna go get Drake. It's gonna be great.
We're gonna get Drake, and then I think it was Emma. She was the smart one, but she ended up with herpes or something like that.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
Speaking of which,
we left off on herpes, so you tell me.
Yeah.
Speaking of
where to go from there, but if you would like to see what we're talking about, not herpes typically, you can follow us at the Escape with Nick and Am on Facebook and Instagram. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. It helps a lot. We are trying our darndest to get some more videos up there, some toy reviews, some comic reviews up there. Because as it turns out, just streaming doesn't actually help our channel. So we just got to get some more content going.
Oh yeah, he does flower streaming.
But I mean, it's all part of the formula for that.
We're coming in 2023. We're coming just for you.
And also, if you are a podcast fan like myself, you're on all the major podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and Google Podcasts. So go check us out.
Oh.
All right, my friend. Time to say goodbye.
Good night, Planet Houston.
Good night, America.
Nick didn't remind me of Superman 4, so remind him next time.
I was supposed to remind you of something I forgot.
That's all right. I forgot my point.
Yeah. All right. Later.